The World Center of Racing plays host tonight to yet another incredible race in its fabled history. Over 60 years of racing memories have been made in this facility and on the beaches of Daytona for the couple of decades before this cathedral of racing was built. And tonight we will add just one more to the mix tonight. It is round 9 of Season 2 in 2025 of the Challenger Cup Series. Good evening from iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway. Again, this is race 9 of the Challenger Cup Series season, and you're watching live coverage on PGR eSports. My name is Dawson Wise. Happy to be with you on this Tuesday night of action from Daytona as we reach past the midway point of the regular season. We have gotten some clarity on the point situation, the playoff field as it stands right now, 9 rounds into this second season in 2025. And boy, has it been a bit of a roller coaster so far. Surely another chapter to be added here tonight. Daytona is a wild card. Anybody in the field tonight can win, and there are some guys tonight in the field that could use a win, that are outside looking in, that are towards the tail end of the points that would really like to solidify their spot. There's guys that have won earlier in the season that would like to add a second win to their docket. There's a couple guys looking to continue on their momentum this season. And there's a couple guys in a very unique situation tonight. We'll get to that first. If you'll remember back last week at Richmond, we had a situation towards the midway point of the race between the entries of Garrett Caswell and John Velocity. Well, race control and league officials talked after the race. They spoke with both drivers as well. And the consensus was this week that punishment would be doled out, and that punishment is as such coming in tonight to Daytona. Race administration has placed drivers John Velocity, the driver of the number 84, and Garrett Caswell, the driver of the number 77, on probation, effective immediately. Both drivers were required to talk it out basically tonight before the race. Just a little bit ago, actually, that meeting took place between those two drivers. If either had failed to attend, they would have been ineligible tonight. Both did attend. Both are on track as going forth tonight. As part of the probation, the drivers will be required to pit start for tonight's race. They will not be able to start from the grid. They will have to start from pit road. With a stage break, obviously, they will have an opportunity to be back in tonight's race, but they will have to start both from their pit boxes. They can lay down a qualifying time if they like to get pit selection later in the race, but they will have to start from the pits. They'll be back on the lead lap after the stage break. Both playoff drivers, by the way, these guys were both in playoff position and both had garnered some playoff points. Both have been docked 20 points from the playoff field as of tonight, so points penalties have been handed out as well. And also, of course, with the probation, there's a bit of a magnifying glass on their actions over the next few weeks while they are on this probation, obviously causing accidents, reckless driving, things like that can lead to more penalties that get more severe, obviously, as it goes longer, depending on how bad the incident is. So, again, if you missed it last week, there was a moment between Caswell and Velocity. Caswell got into the 84, spun him halfway sideways. Velocity came back, repaid Caswell, and took both drivers out of the race, and both have had some discipline handed out to them as we've gone on here into round number 9. So did want to address that. If you don't see those two cars on the grid tonight, that is why, and they'll be on probation going forward. But there is other business to be attended to tonight as well, and again, there's a lot of great storylines in the field as we start to look down trackside here in just a moment and get you on the grid for Challenger Cup Series action in race number 9. And we'll start to do so now as qualifying is complete. We will get down to track level and get on the grid for what should be an incredible night of racing. You see the lights come on. You see the time change there. The sun has gone down behind the grandstands. We're going to race under the lights of the World Center of Racing tonight in Daytona. But plenty of other storylines to go through here tonight. Obviously, you have Ryan Petty back in the field tonight on a super speedway, another discipline of racing. Can he get the job done tonight? You have guys on the outside of the playoff race looking in, like Jimmy Fitzmaurice, who will start from 7th tonight. You have a couple others further back in the field. You know, guys that could really use a win and get into the playoffs that way. Guys that are towards the tail end in points that would really like the jump start this season. A lot of different storylines coming into tonight's race. But it all gets started with tonight's starting grid. It's Race 9, Season 2 of 2025. For the Challenger Cup Series, it will get started from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. On the pole, with a time of 49.812 seconds, it's going to be the 38, the Oscar Mayer Chevrolet of James Catrone. To his outside, it will be the GTCR entry, the number 77, on the number 10 on the side of the car. We reminded you of that last week. He is running that paint scheme as homage to his teammate Austin Johnson. Of course, we're still thinking about Austin. We're still our thoughts and prayers with Austin and his family. He's still recovering from a severe accident. Obviously, we wish him all the best. But Caswell will again run his paint tonight, so a different look for Garrett Caswell than what we are used to. He'll be in that purple, orange, and white number 10 machine. On row number 2, it's familiar colors back on Matt Hayden's car. He'll go from position number 3 back to the red and white Oakley Pristine Auction Chevrolet. And it'll be the familiar camo of Cody Eldred in the 34 to his outside. Coming off a career finish last week in this series, he'll go 4th tonight in that 34 machine. Back on row 3, that's where you're going to find the first car that will not take the grid tonight. Actually, I should have mentioned it again on the grid. It is Caswell that will not take the grid either in that second position. So Eldred will move to the outside of the front row. But 5th is where you will find the time of John Velocity. He will have to pit start tonight, but he is listed as 5th on the speed charts in the 84. It'll be Harold Rothery to his outside in the 6th position. Back on row number 4, it's going to be Jimmy Fitzmaurice in the 33, and back-to-back winner in this series, Ryan Petty in the 30. He'll go from position number 8. Back on row 5, going to be Travis Everett in the 13 machine, and Greg Bourbonier in the 00, having a good year for himself as well. Back on row 6 is where you'll find GT Irizarry. He'll go from position number 11. It'll be Andrew Little going from position number 12. On row 7, it's the winningest driver in this season of the Challenger Cup Series. It's the 29 of Christian Schrader. He'll go from 13th. It'll be Brandon Beauchamp to his outside. At 15, he'll go from position number 14. On row 8, it's the Iowa winner and defending winningest driver in the series. He's got 6 wins in 2025 altogether. In the Challenger Cup Series, it'll be Harold Watkins in the 3. It'll be Rusty Modesty in the 6 machine to his outside in 16th. Back in 17th, last row on the field, it'll be Stephen Luttrell, the winner from Atlanta. He opened this season with a win on a restrictor plate track. Will he do so again tonight in Daytona? He will attempt to get his 2nd win of this year. He'll go from 17th. It'll be Mike Martino in the 75 going from position number 18. So 18 cars will contest this one from Daytona. Again, we are at the midpoint of the season. I know maybe a little bit confusing considering the Cup Series just ended its regular season here at Daytona a few days ago. This is not the last race of the regular season. There are still several to come here, about 8 races to go in the regular season after tonight. So still a long way to go in the regular season to lock your way into the playoffs. Actually, it's not 8. It's 5 races after tonight, but this is not the cutoff race. But it is a good chance for you to lock yourself into the playoffs and start to look at playoff points, start to reestablish your strategy here getting into the playoff push. 6 weeks to go in the regular season. Tonight, sure to be a wild one. Under the lights of Daytona, James Catrone will bring the field into the restart zone. The pace car dives to the safety of pit road. They drop into the Geico restart zone. Barney the flagman gives them the green flag. We are racing at Daytona. Coming to complete the opening lap, it will be James Catrone that leads in front of Matt Hayden and Jimmy Fitzmaurice, who comes forward from 7th. He actually started in the 5th position in tonight's race. He'll come up to 3rd as the field works back up the banking of turn 1. Again, these next-gen cars got an update a few weeks ago that radically changed the way that we plate race. And you will see that reflected tonight. It takes a lot more to get momentum going. But right now, the outside's got some juice in it, and that's Travis Everett that leads that. He's got Cody Eldred on his front nose, and the Black Rifle Mustang takes a turn out front. Eldred gonna split him out 3, thinking about it, dropping back in line. Right for the Busch Light Chevy of Harold Rothery, that green and yellow number 7 machine, 3rd in line on the outside. 2x2 make it 7 rows deep in the field, all the way back to Beauchamp in the 15. 3 cars pit started tonight. Of course, Caswell and Velocity we noted. The other was GT Irizarry, the other car that pit started in tonight's race. They are all 3 behind the field, along with Mike Martino. So 14 cars in the lead trap, 4 outside of it right now. The stage break will be at the conclusion of lap number 18. As we get into tonight's race. So a short first stage, then a long second stage to finish tonight's race. Sure to have some pit strategy. If plate races in this series have been any indication, pit strategy will become a factor later on in the night. Well, Everett dropped to the inside now. It's Eldred that takes his turn out front as he jumps around Everett on the high line of the racetrack. Good push from Rothery, who almost followed him down there. Now it's Rothery on the outside, and he's pushed by guess who? The back-to-back winner in the series, brand new colors aboard that number 30. That's Ryan Patty. He won at Watkins Glen in his series debut. He won last week at Richmond in his 2nd race in the series, trying to go 3 for 3 in 3 different disciplines tonight at Daytona. It's the STP blue and orange aboard that Chevrolet. A new look for Ryan Patty tonight. Down the Daytona super stretch continues to be Eldred. That high line's lost a little bit of its momentum as Rothery and Patty try to get it going again. Catrone, the pole sitter, has settled into 3rd trouble. Around goes Harold Rothery. He spins right in front of the pack. Couple cars involved. Patty's in it. Modesty's in it. Couple others are spinning into the outside wall. Greg Bourbonier gets a piece as well. And chaos hits the field here early in this one. And Ryan Patty, unfortunately, his luck has ran out just a little bit. Man, Garrett Caswell coming on the scene there as he's able to miss it. There you see Irizarry and Velocity go by, but critical damage to the Ryan Patty machine, as I don't think that car is even going to make it back to his pit box. In fact, the entire wheel housing has come out of the right front of that STP Chevy. And the luck, it appears, has finally run out for the back-to-back winner in this series. Ryan Patty, well, the tire is actually still rolling around in the engine bay, basically, inside of that race car. He's going to try to limp it to his pit stall. Greg Bourbonier has opted, I believe, to tow to his pit stall. So a couple of guys involved in this one. We saw a couple others get a piece of it as well. Harold Rothery in the 7, and I believe one other car might have gotten in this. Rusty Modesty was the other one that I saw get a piece of this in the 6. So a 4-car incident on lap number 4 triggers the opening caution of tonight's race. Let's go back and take a look at what started this one over in turn number 3, and this was right around that Rothery area, and it looked like it might have started with James Catrone, who I had just started to highlight as the field worked off into the banking of turn number 3. Watch the Oscar Mayer Chevy on the inside, that orange car. That's Catrone. Everett actually moves up, and you know what? Catrone just follows him a little bit off the bottom, and, well, what I thought was contact was actually not. That's a little bit of netcode there between Catrone and Rothery. Matt Hayden's going to get a piece of it. There's the big damage to Patty. Here comes Bourbonier onto the scene. Oh, man, Christian Strader's going to get a piece of this in the 29. So too is Watkins. So too is Modesty. We'll have to check on Stephen Luttrell. He may have gotten a piece of this as well in that orange and white 36. So it's actually more like a 6 or 7 car incident over in turn 3. See Modesty right there. I'm not sure how bad Rusty's damage is. We know Bourbonier's is pretty severe. We know that Ryan Patty's is pretty severe. Rothery's appears to be mostly cosmetic as well. So several guys going to have to go to their one fast repair. There is one available in the pits to these drivers in this race. A lot of guys going to have to go to that fast repair option here very early in this one from Daytona. Look on the bottom. You see Everett move up, and then Catrone kind of just follows him. There's a little bit of netcode. You see, actually, it's more than a little bit there. There's about a 5-foot separation between the Oscar Mayer Chevy and the Busch Light Chevy there. And Rothery gets the worst end. He goes straight to the right off of the right corner of Catrone. You see Bourbonier come down. He gets straighter, and then he gets hooked straight back up. Modesty's going to get a piece of this as well. You see Rusty's hit right there. Let's check on that right rear toe link for the Sinclair Toyota Camry. Beauchamp, did he miss it as well? Beauchamp was right in the middle of this. Looks like he got around it, so maybe a little bit lucky there for the 15 machine. We'll take one more look at what happened over here in turn 3. Appears to be some net code, though. I'll have to get up here around Harold Rothery. Let's see. Look at how much separation. I mean, you can even tell from this angle. It may look like contact. I promise there is not any right there. And unfortunately, it registers contact for Rothery and Catrone. Rothery goes up the track. Patty nowhere to go. Bourbonnier nowhere to go. Modesty nowhere to go. Same with Watkins. And Luttrell is the interesting one here. I'm not sure about the 36. We'll go on board with him here momentarily and see if the 36 of Luttrell, again, the Atlanta winner from earlier this season. Let's see if he was involved. He did spend a little bit of time on pit road, but he did not spend much, which tells me that he very well may have gotten through this. I'm wondering if I still have a good angle for this. In fact, I might. I was going to go on board. This might be a little bit better. Here it is. Luttrell coming onto the wreck. Actually gets on the apron, slides it a little bit. And he may have gotten a very slight piece, but it's just a scratch, if anything, on that 36. And he is able to continue on. No harm, no foul for the winner from Atlanta Motor Speedway back in June. So we'll re-rack, restack, and try it again. It'll be lap 8 of 72 and 11 laps to go in this opening stage. Cody Eldred goes from the point here on this first restart. It is Christian Strader up 11 spots to second. And it's Harold Watkins up 12 to third. And there's Stephen Luttrell up 13 to the fourth position. Those are the first two rows. Brandon Beauchamp, Travis Everett back on row 3. With Matt Hayden and Jimmy Fitzmaurice on row 4. Then it's it's Garrett Caswell and Andrew Little on row number 5, and then right behind Caswell is a new look 84 for John Velocity. So those two guys got an early caution, did not even lose a lap, get right back in the field, and are both on the lead lap now. And again, now for them, wins more important than ever tonight. A great opportunity for one of them potentially to take a crack into that 20-point deficit they're going to have at the beginning of the playoffs. And at this point in the season, I will double-check the point standings before we say this. Both, as of now, are in, but I don't believe either of them have won yet this season. I know Caswell has not, and John Velocity has not yet either. Again, the defending champ of this series had a couple wins, 3 wins, actually, I think last season, including Pocono, to win the championship, has not yet won in Season 2. So both searching for wins and playoff points at this rate to try to dig out of that hole by the time we get to the postseason in October. So looking to continue on their run. They both have good seasons so far. Looking to continue on that playoff point grind as well. Green flag back in the air, lap 8 on the board. Eldred leads off the start and gets a really good one in that 34 machine as he rolls up towards the banking of turn number 1. He'll have Harold Watkins to his back bumper on the outside. Strader and Luttrell try to get together. As the High Rock Chevy of Brandon Beauchamp comes through on the inside. He's trying to make headway and will here off the beginning of the Daytona Superstretch. Matt Hayden is 4th in line now on that inside lane. And Caswell's come all the way forward to 6th. Hayden takes a look out of line. That is the Oakley Chevrolet that takes a look actually at Oakley and Fanatec. I thought it was Pristine Auction. It's Fanatec. One car blinking. That was Caswell, but he's right back in to the field. He's 4th on the inside behind Beauchamp and in front of a guy who is not very fond of him this week, John Velocity. Further back, Rothery throws it on the nose of Andrew Little, and all of a sudden it's 8 cars on the outside. It's 7, led by Matt Hayden in the 5. The Oakley Chevy has not yet won this season, as I recall. Won last season a couple of different times. Still searching for the elusive broadcasted race win. Both of his wins last season not broadcasted by myself, so still looking for that elusive broadcasted win. Eldred continues to lead. The top lane has had some problems getting hooked up with Hayden and Strader and Luttrell, so the insides put 6 cars clear. And into turn number 3. See if anybody wants to make a move to the outside. Velocity shading up there just a little bit. He's going to go for it here on the bumper of Hayden. Irizarry went to take a look. Nobody home. Caswell's going to jump on Velocity's bumper. How nice will they play? But the outside line does not have enough momentum for that move, so Caswell drops right back in line. It was almost a Almost an interesting moment right there for those two cars. Again, two guys that I don't think are very fond of each other in tonight's race, and they almost had to work together there on the outside lane of the racetrack. Everett's going to take a look around Caswell. Irizarry trying to get clear, and all of a sudden, again, we have a run to the outside. Here comes Everett. He led it last time. He'll lead it again. He's up around Caswell. That's for position number 4. As those two try to get that outside lane working, but again, not a ton of momentum. Now they'll garner some here off turn 4. Brandon Beauchamp, it's his turn to try to take a look. Going to stay home on the inside for now, and that's because that outside lane just has not been able to get a lot of anything going early in this race. Caswell's actually going to drive back clear. I'll be really curious to see if Caswell jumps up here this time. There he goes. And all of a sudden, the T&J Bar and Grill Ford Mustang's leading the outside lane, and now you've got about half the field in that outside, and if they can't get it going with this many cars, I'm not sure they'll get it going at all. Everett trying to square up the 10. As they get down the back straightaway, he will square up that Ford Mustang Dark Horse. And they will try to come to the front there to the outside of Brandon Beauchamp for the 3rd position. You see a little bit tighter side drafting, but he blinks out. Everett's going to have to lift just a little bit. Field working off at turn number 4. Back to the start-finish line. It will be 7 laps to go. A couple cars off on the inside of the racetrack. Couldn't tell which car that was. I don't think it was Luttrell. I think it might have been... I'm not exactly sure who that was. It was completely off the track. It actually might have been Luttrell. He's got some front-end damage now. Does that 36, so we'll keep an eye on that. It's a developing situation towards the tail end of the field as the 36 picks up a little bit of front-end damage. Beauchamp dives back in line in the 15. Andrew Little's through to 3rd or 4th now in that lane. And 4th on the speedway, but now the outside gets cooking just a little bit as Everett gets connected with Caswell, and here comes the outside, looking for a little more momentum. Oh man, Brandon Beauchamp, be careful with that outside line so close. He's bouncing off the apron. Outside's got to come up just a little bit. They're going to try to continue to garner that momentum off the exit of turn number 4. Caswell drives to 2nd. He'll be door-to-door at the leader. 5, make it 6 laps to go in stage number 1. Caswell leads the outside and now leads the race. Garrett Caswell in the T&J Bar and Grill Ford Mustang. This is a cool moment right here as the 10 goes to the point at Daytona for the first time tonight. He will lead over Travis Everett and Cody Eldred. He'll drop all the way to the bottom. Quick move there from Caswell. He'll get the push from Eldred. Watkins pushing on the back of the 34. Everett will challenge for the lead. Remember, Everett has wanted to play track in this calendar year. He won back at Talladega in early May at that race in Season 1. So Everett knows how to get it done on the play tracks. Ran well at Atlanta earlier in this season as well. So certainly a guy to expect to run up front. Watkins going to jump out around the outside. Did not like being 3rd on the inside line, so he'll be 1st on the outside. Now he'll get the push of Travis Everett. It continues to be Garrett Caswell that leads the way on lap 14. Again, going for playoff points here. With only 5 laps to go in stage 1. He's in position to get one here with a stage win if he could secure it. When they come back around 5 more times, looking to get some of those points he lost back as we head into the postseason push. For that 77 on the timing and scoring, that is the 10, that blue, orange, purple, and white Ford Mustang on the inside. That is Caswell listed as the 77. Outside, not much headway this time. Not sure what it was about the connection between the 10 and the 13 that worked, but Watkins and Everett have not been able to replicate that success up on the middle lane of the racetrack. Andrew Little going to try to change that. Rothery thinking about going with him, going to squeeze it in a hole. Brandon Beauchamp says, I want to take a look. He goes around Cody Eldred. Couple cars out behind him. Beauchamp gets the wall. Caswell throws the block. He may go back to the bottom. Beauchamp takes a left. Caswell throws the block to the yellow line. That block was clean. And gets across the nose of the High Rock Chevy, and Caswell continues to lead. 4 laps to go in stage 1. Little leads the outside. Beauchamp going to probably take another look here around Caswell. Thinking about it. And now, unfortunately, Caswell's in a bad spot. I don't think he's going to be able to block this advance from the outside. It's Andrew Little in the 68, the Martinsville winner from a season ago. He'll take a turn out front. Rothery's come back to the front as well in the Busch Light Chevrolet. And it's 3 wide further back. Irizarry gets split. He goes to the help of Ryan Patty in the middle. Everett's going to come down, and now that leaves only Velocity, Schrader, and Hayden up in the outside lane. As Caswell and Little battle for the win. 3 laps to go in stage number 1. Little back to the lead by a couple hundredths at the line over Caswell. Caswell on the push of Beauchamp. Little on the push of Harold Rothery. Both getting pretty good support right now from the guys behind them. Neither with a big advantage here off 2. Now it's advantage Caswell again. Down the backstretch. for a couple more times. Everett near zero. They're going to look to the middle of Watkins. They split right to the center, although not going to be anything going for them further back as their help dissolves behind them. Caswell gets a really nice shot here from Beauchamp and move the 10 back to the point at Daytona as they work off turn number 4. Little and Rothery have gotten separated. Beauchamp takes a look, gets turned. Brandon Beauchamp gets turned on the bumper of Cody Eldred. They go sideways to the inside of the racetrack. We got jockeying up front. The caution flag comes out. That'll do it for stage 1. And Garrett Caswell collects an elusive playoff point. He'll be stage 1's winner at the conclusion of lap number 18. The caution is for Beauchamp and Eldred. Major damage aboard the Eldred machine. Beauchamp may have gotten away a little better. Can't tell if that car is crab walking at all. And it does appear to be crab walking for Beauchamp. So severe damage, it appears, to both race cars as they got together off the exit of turn number 4. Let's go take a look at what concluded stage 1 before we head to what should be our only break of the night, or the Challenger Cup Series. We saw the contact happen live, and this is what happens to Eldred after. Man, he blasts the inside wall. Goodness, it's one of the harder hits we have seen all year in this series, and Cody Eldred delivers a massive blow to that inside safer barrier. That's where the left front damage came from, where the Find a Way Outdoors Chevrolet, as he gets a piece of the inside wall. Take another couple looks at it. We'll come back. We'll take our only break, what should be our only break of the night. Let's see if we can go up top, show you where this contact originates from. Not sure if Beauchamp was considering a move to the outside here to go with Andrew Little. You see a move right there? I don't know if he just hesitates because Andrew Little's going to split him, and he tries to come back down. And when he tries to come back down, that hole has closed. Eldred gets in the left rear quarter panel of him. Beauchamp locks the brakes down. Eldred's actually going to lock his down too. But the angle at which he spun, it was just going to be impossible to keep that car off the wall. And he gets a big piece of it right there on the inside. So Eldred gets the brunt. Beauchamp gets a little bit of damage. Actually did not have any damage as I thought he did. It looked like he was crab walking, but appears on that replay not to be the case. We'll take one more look at it here off of turn number 4 before we go back and take our only break of the night. See, Beauchamp looks high, hesitates, comes back down, and watch this hit for Eldred. Ooh. That wall is forgiving. It's a safer barrier, but it's not that forgiving, and Eldred gets big-time damage. He'll have to use his one and only fast repair here at the stage break for stage number 1. So 2 cars crash. Stage is complete. At the end of lap, well, it's officially going to be lap 17 that the stage ends, but for all intents and purposes, the stage now is complete. And Garrett Caswell, right after that points penalty I mentioned at the top of the show, gets one of those points back, and I believe gets his first stage win of the season in that 77 machine. That is the case. So add a stage win, add a playoff point to his resume, add 5 points to his point total as well. And Garrett Caswell with a stage win here in stage number 1. We're going to go to a quick break. As these guys pace around Daytona International Speedway, you won't miss a thing. We're going to go side by side so you don't miss a moment. We'll be right back for stage 2 and the conclusion of the Daytona International Speedway. You're watching PGR eSports coverage of the Challenger Cup Series. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run! The lazy
gentlemen,
The monkey has pride!
this season we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Stage 2 about to go under the green flag as there will be 53 laps to go from the World Center of Racing Daytona. You're watching PGR eSports coverage of Round 9 of Season 2 in 2025 of the Challenger Cup Series. As Garrett Caswell picks up the stage win in Stage 1, he leads the race off pit road here for Stage 2. He'll bring the field back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. And away we go for Stage number 2. Only stage break of the night is over with as Caswell gets the victory in that only stage. So again, picks up a playoff point, picks up 5 extra points in the standings, and now leads the field here in stage number 2. Again, we talked about what happened with him last week. Now on probation, he lost points this week and is under some discipline from the league. Would love nothing more to put that week behind him, go to victory lane, make a big statement tonight, and put himself in good playoff position as well. Matt Hayden makes a 3-wide move about 5 rows deep in the field in the 5 car, but had no one going with him. Let's check back on the Oakley Chevy. They cut him a big break on that outside lane, and it's now Matt Hayden that leads that group as he is up about 6th on the racetrack right now, make it 7th behind GT Irizarry, but they'll try to get that lane cooking on the outside of the front straightaway. Continues to be Caswell up front, and he's got Ryan Patty behind him. The STP Chevy, again, has won back-to-back races in this series, looking to make it 3 for 3. Not sure if we've had a back-to-back-to-back winner. I'm not sure if Harold Watkins did it. I know Harold Watkins went back-to-back. I know Christian Strader went back-to-back in Season 1. I'm not sure we ever had 3 straight, and I'm sure someone in chat or one of the race admins after tonight will correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm not sure we've had a trifecta yet in the Challenger Cup Series, at least in the year that I have been doing this. So until we do, we're going to continue to wait on it in this series. But Ryan Patty looking to potentially be the first man to do that in this Challenger Cup Series competition. Outside's not really been able to get going. They're still stalled back around the 6th position with GT Irizarry on the inside of Matt Hayden. They just have not been able to get connected and get the momentum rolling forward. Patty's doing a good job up front, keeping this line out in front of the field, managing his equipment, taking care of Garrett Caswell in front of him. That outside lane starts to drop momentum now. They're back to Luttrell. That's for the 7th spot. They still continue to drop off the front end of the pack. They'll have to get a couple more cars up there that are connected better to get it going again now. They'll surge down the end of the back straightaway off the into the turn number 3. They'll get alongside Irizarry for a moment, but again, lose a ton of momentum right here on the exit of turn 4. They're going backwards with Matt Hayden and company on the outside. Continues to be Caswell leading the way. Stage 1 complete means pit strategy becomes the forefront of the driver talk now, the thinking of the 18 drivers on the racetrack right now. By the way, all 18 on the track, all 18 are on the lead lap as of this point in the race. So, in fact, all 18 are in the lead draft as well. So, the entire field, no one is a lap down, no one is lagging off the pack. No one's out of the race yet on lap 23, and as the laps continue to wind down, that means the energy in the fields just continue to go up. The chance that we may start to having some attrition kick in, get a little bit higher when you get towards the end of these super speedway style races. We did have a car jump out in front of the outside lane. It is Stephen Luttrell in the 36, the winner from the Atlanta Motor Speedway back in race number 1 of this season. Kicked off the season by locking himself in to the Challenger Cup Series playoffs and looking to make it 2 for 2 on the big tracks here in this season 2 as he'll go to the outside of Modesty for 5th. He's pushed by the 5 of Matt Hayden. We'll see if Roderick Catrone or Patty want to take it or if Garrett Caswell will be the one with the onus to block. But a lot of guys now have bailed. It leaves just 4 cars on the outside lane of the racetrack. It is Luttrell, Hayden, Well, it was Luttrell, Hayden, Strader, and Eldred with a freshly repaired number 34. Now Rothery takes his car to the outside of James Catrone. He will lead the outside lane now. Brandon Beauchamp files in. Ryan Patty thought about it. Now he's stuck. Now he's got to get up. And it's Ryan Patty back to the lead here at Daytona. He leads his first restrictor plate laps in the Challenger Cup Series. And that, again, newly rebranded Dollar Tree STP Chevrolet. We saw him in the DeWalt colors the last 2 weeks, went to Victory Lane at Watkins Glen and Richmond. Looking to make it 3 for 3 tonight at Daytona. Continue his push to the postseason potentially. If it comes down to it. He's pushed by Rothery on the outside. Luttrell's going to get clear. Let's see if any of them drop to the bottom. They're all three going to make the move down to the inside. So Patty inherits the lead. Luttrell says, I don't think so. I don't like how I just got... how I just ended up in that deal. I'm going to go back to the outside of the help of Hayden and try to get some more spots. I would not be surprised to see the 10 of Caswell do the exact same thing. Let's see if the 10 takes it. Nope, he's going to be beat to the punch by James Catrone. The Oscar Mayer Chevy, who sat on pole for tonight's race, jumps back to the outside. He's back up front. And that 38 machinist lap 26 goes on the board. 47 laps to go at Daytona, almost to the halfway point, 10 laps short of it. Mind you, next time by around the racetrack will be 10 laps away from halfway. Two-car breakaway up front back to Caswell. Not sure what's going on the inside, but Caswell giving a lot of room. Is there a car that's gone missing there? I was looking down for a moment at my other screen, but I don't think there's a car that's gone missing. I think those guys are saving fuel potentially, which we tend to see guys do. For right now, Caswell is content to run on the inside. Rusty Modesty is yet to win in the calendar year 2025. He runs fourth on the inside here. Zeri doesn't have a win. Here in season number 2, Catrone's in the wall of the bumper of Luttrell. The Oscar Mayer Chevy got the outside wall, and now the question will be how much damage does that Chevrolet Camaro have on the right side of it after it got the safer barrier there off the exit of turn 4. An offset push from Stephen Luttrell. We'll keep an eye on the 38 as this race continues on. Ryan Patty continues to be up front, top 4, make it 5, make it all the way back to... Man, Luttrell, even with 11th position or 12th position right now is where the first battle on the Speedway is. Everybody else has been content to ride on the inside. Now back to Everett in 9th is where you'll find the first battle. As Andrew Little says, I'm not safe where I'm at. I don't feel good where I'm at if this gets to a pit stop. I'm going to go try to get some track position, but right after he said that, he jumps back down behind Everett. And again, only 3 cars now on the outside. Fitzmaurice, Catrone, and Beauchamp. 45 laps to go, 9 laps from the halfway point. And other than a couple of early incidents, one with Harold Rothery and a couple of other cars, and then, of course, the Eldred and Beauchamp incident, the end of stage number 1. It's been a pretty low-key race, not a ton of huge moves yet, but again, as these guys continue on into the night, those moves will come. They will get bigger. One car about to go a lap down, that is Greg Bourbonier. Not sure where he got off sync with the leaders, but he will go 1 lap down to them. It'll be a bit of 3 wide. Back there on Irizarry and Velocity, who've tried the outside now as the field works off turn number 4. So a couple more cars up in the outside. In fact, now it's a pilgrimage to the outside. 7 cars up there back to Beauchamp, make it 6. Watkins jumps back in line. They're not pushing very hard up front, though. It's going to allow Irizarry and Velocity to come up here uninhibited. Let's see if Garrett Caswell takes it this time when they get to him on the outside of the racetrack. I would not be surprised to see that GTCR entry take it, although you just saw a bit of maybe a pump of the brakes for Garrett Caswell right there in the middle of 1 and 2, perhaps saving some fuel is that 10 entry. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll stay put, stay where he's at, and try to just manage this thing until we get to a pit stop, which should be coming up, I would think, in the somewhat near future. Here at Daytona, only a 50% fuel tank likely means they can only go about 20, maybe even less than that laps, which means we're not getting really close to that number yet. We went back green around lap 20 or 21. So we'd probably hit that number. We're about halfway into a run right now, maybe a little short of halfway into a run, but certainly you're starting to think about that pit stop when you're going to make it. Some guys potentially having to save a little bit to get onto a 2-stop strategy here. They'll stop once here, probably about lap 40, maybe a little bit before, and their goal would be to make it then to about lap 55, depending on how far they go right here to make it on a two-stop strategy. Irizarry on the outside. The outside's got some juice now as the Motorcraft Mustang gets alongside Garrett Caswell. That's for the third position. They've got a number of cars up there, but again, another push gone awry, and another one there in the entry to turn one. So those guys try to get connected, and they lose some ground back to the fourth spot with Rusty Modesty, and Caswell's once again clear on the inside. There are 8 cars up there. Back to the final car in line, which is Mike Martino. They're going to split here down the back straightaway. Matt Hayden's going to get split in the middle. 3 wide with Andrew Little, Beauchamp, Luttrell, Eldred. A bunch of cars involved in this. Irizarry's going to come out okay as he'll file in line in 6 right in front of his teammate Travis Everett. Velocity and Hayden kind of get the raw end of the deal as they'll all go back to the 10th position on back. Irizarry going to take another look at a line. This time nobody goes with him. I would not be surprised to see Everett go with him, but Velocity stays home for the moment. Let's see if John Velocity takes it here on the entry to turn 1. He will not. Everett, oh well, Velocity's going to cut a break to the driver of the 14 GT Irizarry. So some grace given there by the 84 to the 14, and they all file back in line. Top, I believe 9 make it top 7 on the racetrack are clear on the bottom. Nobody really trying any bonsai moves. Actually now, make it top 8, make it top 9, back to straighter, and it'll about be 10 with Cotrone. So a number of cars clear on the inside line of the racetrack as the field readies for pit stops probably in the next 6 to 7 laps is my best guess at the fuel capabilities of this race car. I'm thinking of the real-life car. They can go about 40, I think, on a tank of fuel, or 45, something like that. I'm thinking about half that. About 20 laps is my benchmark, which would put us on pit road right about lap 40, which would put us well within the range to make it to that 55 number. In fact, you're talking about closer to lap 60, which would put everybody in a late pit stop situation should we get there. So for now, things have calmed down. Luttrell, Hayden, and Beauchamp, the only 3 cars out of line back around the 13th position. And right now, things have settled out just a bit here at the front of the field. Patty, Rothery, Caswell, Modesty, Watkins to the top 5. Then it's Irizarry, Travis Everett. There's a lap car squashed in there with Greg Bourbonier, the only car 1 lap down. So Irizarry and Everett are 6th and 7th. Then it's Eldred battling Luttrell. They're 8th and 9th. Christian Strader is 10th. 34 on the board, 3 laps away from the halfway mark. Now cars again dropping down. Matt Hayden's dropped out of line. Other 2 looking for a spot in that line as we all get ready for some pit stops here at the Daytona International Speedway. One of my favorite pastimes in super speedway racing is pit strategy, and we're about to have some right here at Daytona on a Tuesday night. Entire field is now single file shades of 2010's plate racing as the field works 1 through 18 along the bottom side of the racetrack, led by Ryan Patty as he ticks more laps led onto his resume this year. In his 3rd start, he's leading laps. He's led laps in all 3. He's won the first 2. Looking to go 3 for 3 here at Daytona and get another victory on his season. One car briefly shuffled out of line back there. It was Matt Hayden. I'm not exactly sure what happened to that car, but he got right back in line in 12th. Not sure if he was trying to make a move and nobody went with him, or he just got out of line, maybe had a technical issue or what have you. Ryan Patty continuing to lead the way. Again, we are just at this point awaiting that first green flag pit stop, and when that lap will be that they come down. They've run about 16 or so on this stint under the green flag, not counting the couple caution laps they would have run before we went back green. So about 16 under the green flag here in stage 2. And no signs of a pit stop quite yet. Again, it's going to make a pretty big difference on how far they can go because it determines if everybody can make it on one more stop or if everybody will have to make 2. Off turn 4, no takers this time either. So they will make it at least 1 more. They'll make it at least 17, which puts us in right about the window to make it on 1 more stop. This would be about as extreme a stretch as you can get. But you see guys like Caswell, looks like guys like Watkins, they're saving fuel. Look at the gaps between cars here. Caswell, Watkins, 0-0. There's guys saving gas here, trying to make it to a target number. They've all got a number in mind. You see Harold Rother, he's like, I don't want to stand for that. I want to push the pace, make everybody speed up. Got to think maybe he doesn't have the gas, or he just doesn't want to play the fuel game. He just wants to speed the field up. Potentially also letting Ryan Patty save a little bit of gas is the 7, letting him lift just a little bit, help him along, and save a little bit of gas leading the race as well. Everyone will come by again. No takers that time either. And now we are well within range to make it on one more stop. So now it's just a matter of when that pit stop happens here, as we are just past halfway at Daytona. And because we're just past halfway, we have a full field out here, and now they start to push the pace just a little bit from first to fourth. Let's give you a full field rundown real quick before they make pit stops. Ryan Patty is your race leader here as of lap 38. Then it's Harold Rothery second, Garrett Caswell in third, Rusty Modesty is fourth, Harold Watkins fifth, GT Irizarry sixth, Travis Everett seventh, Cody Eldred is eighth, Stephen Luttrell is ninth, and Christian Strader is 10th. Brandon Beauchamp is position number 11, and right as I say that, we're going to have pit stops as most of the guys in the lead draft come to pit road trouble. John Velocity's around into the inside wall. He slides into the grass. Christian Strader's gone with him. There's big damage on the Fuel Fest 84, and Christian Strader's gone awry as well. He does not look to have any damage aboard the Reese's. Dark Horse, but the points leader finds more bad luck here at Daytona as he goes for a slide through the infield grass, and now may have also missed his pit box. Double trouble for the driver of the 29. He gets spun on pit road and also misses his pit stall. The loneliest man in Daytona right now is Christian Strader. Up front, we await the second round of green flag pit stops, and here they come. The rest of the field, besides Greg Bourbonier, coming to pit road. This group gets on more cleanly, led by Modesty. This is Modesty, Irizarry, Watkins, Eldred, Everett, Hayden, and Catrone that all pit together on lap 40. They cross lap 40. It'll be 39 coming to 40. Strader will have to make another pit stop. Meanwhile, that group that comes out of pit road together is Caswell, Luttrell, Patty, and Rothery. Then it's about a 4-second gap to Brandon Beauchamp and Jimmy Fitzmaurice. And John Velocity has lost the draft, so is Mike Martino. This group going to try to beat that first group off pit road, but they have already exited. They are not extremely connected here, so you would think Caswell would be in a pretty good spot to inherit the race lead. As this group works into turn 1, it's going to be very close as this field works on the banking of turn 2. We appear to be headed for about a 12-car lead draft, and it's going to be 11. Cody Eldred, a slow pit stop, is going to lose the draft. Catrone's going to lose it as well. So 10 cars in the lead draft as Caswell's going to catch on the back of Andrew Little, who had a slow stop. He may lose it here as well. Matt Hayden might lose the draft also in the Fanatec Chevrolet, although it looks like he's going to tag on to, if not this group, then that second one. The Modesty, Watkins, Irizarry, Everett group leads the charge. Then it's that group that came on pit road first with Caswell, Rothery, Ryan Patty, and Luttrell, and Matt Hayden will be the last car to make up that group. Andrew Little not quite close enough. Cody Eldred, James Catrone, Brandon Beauchamp, Jimmy Fitzmaurice all have trouble on pit road. We saw the velocity issues, and Christian Strader has had to come back to pit road to find his pit box. Mike Martino lost the draft in that as well. Half the field whittled off that first pit stop, and now it's 9 cars in this lead draft and some storylines to go around. Rusty Modesty's yet to win in the calendar year of 2025. Harold Watkins won back in Iowa this season's won 6 times in the last 2 seasons of Challenger Cup Series competition. GT Irizarry won once last season at Phoenix in that 14. Travis Everett won once at Talladega Superspeedway in the 13. Ryan Patty's winner the last 2 races on Tuesday nights in that 30 on the outside. Harold Rothery's yet to win this season or last season in the 7. Matt Hayden has he won last season. I'll have to double-check the points to see if he has won this season at this point. He does not have any wins here in this second season, so he'd love to go to victory lane. And at 5, he's in this group. Last 2 cars in the group that we did not touch on just now. Garrett Caswell's yet to win a race in his Challenger Cup Series career in the 77. And Stephen Luttrell is the Atlanta winner from earlier in the season. So only 3 of the guys in this lead pack have wins this season. I believe all but 3 have wins in this calendar year. The only 3 that don't, Modesty, Hayden, and Caswell. Excuse me, 4. It's Rothery. No, it is 3. Hayden has some in Season 1, like I just said. So, Modesty, Caswell, and Rothery, the only 3 drivers that win in 2025. But Hayden, Irizarry, Everett do not have wins here in Season 2. Luttrell and Watkins do. Nine cars left in the lead draft. As they'll come up on one here. It'll be the Christian Strader machine, I believe, in the 29 after he missed his pit stall. Almost trouble in turn 3. They got to sort it out. Patty Modesty not connected. Rothery goes to the outside to bail. Patty goes back to the inside. And the lead pack avoids disaster as their chances to win have gone significantly up now with this group falling apart 3 wide. Caswell gets thrown in the middle by Ryan Patty. Who will Rothery go with? He'll go with the 30. As Caswell tries to shoot the middle. Won't have any help. Gonna race Patty hard here off turn 2. Not sure if he didn't know he was 3 wide there. He'll get picked up towards the back by Matt Hayden as he goes all the way to the tail end of this lead draft. Patty to the middle. Now he shoots the center on Rusty Modesty. Will he get all the way to the lead on the bumper of Irizarry? Not quite. He'll get stuck in the middle by Harold Watkins and GT Irizarry. And Patty is going the wrong way in that STP Chevrolet. So this front group not exactly racing as calmly as you would think now that they know there's only 9 cars left to potentially compete for the win. They're really still racing harder than you would have thought. But it is their choice. It is their right to go race that hard. Schrader, by the way, is in this group. So it's 10 cars, but only 9 are on the lead lap. Schrader is 1 lap down. The only car on the racetrack as of right now that is 1 lap down. They'll have to make one more pit stop somewhere around the range of lap 58. That's when I anticipate most of these cars to be on pit road for the final time in this race. That's about 13 laps from right now. And from there, it is a free-for-all to the end at Daytona, barring a caution. On the outside, they finally get it rolling. This time it's Watkins that goes to the lead. Modesty will go with him. See if they both drop to the bottom here in the travel. Nope, they'll stay up. Trying to bring Harold Rothery with him. Potentially trying to bring Ryan Patty with him. This field works down towards turn 1. Man, Christian Strader having a real struggle getting connected to the back bumper of the cars in front of him in this race. And it's showing right there on the back of Irizarry. He's just not able to get anything going. Modesty Patty going to get hung out on the outside. Let's see if anybody goes with him here off turn 2. Nobody will. Everybody on the bottom will stay in line. Nobody going to come up to their aid in those 7 cars. Notably, with these guys racing 2 wide, I think they finally figured it out. It was allowing that Cody Eldred group to slowly creep their way back into this race. I think that group has figured that out. They have all come back together and now all run single file here off turn 4. So this group's figured that out. They're trying to gain the time back, and they are starting to gain it back as 26 laps to go are up on the board. All right, taking a quick sip of water. On lap 47, while we have a moment of calm. As you're on board with Harold Watkins, the leader, the 3, the winner at Iowa last a couple weeks ago. And a multi-time winner a season ago, looking to get to victory lane at Daytona for the 2nd time in the 2025 calendar year. He won, it should be the 3rd time, he won the Challenger Cup Series Bud Shootout to open the season unofficially, and then went back-to-back and won the Daytona points race a week later. So, guy that's already tasted Daytona victory lane, looking for a second taste of it here in the summer race, and will inherit the lead with 25 to go. Harold Rothery is the man on his back bumper. And Harold Rothery going to be very interesting to see what that car is willing to do, because as of tonight, he was the first man out looking in to the playoff conversation as of tonight's race. And if he were to win, he would push that cut line down to John Velocity in that 84, who, by the way, just got that penalty. So it'll be very interesting to see what Rothery's willing to do to go to victory lane. You talk about Irizarry, he's won it Phoenix earlier in the year. Would love to get a plate win here at Daytona and lock his place into the playoffs, pick up some playoff points. Travis Everett, Talladega winner from a season ago. Luttrell, the Atlanta winner from this season. So all 3 of the 4, rather, actually all 4 plate winners are actually in this group. But one of them is a lap down and straighter. So 3 of the 4 plate winners are in this group in the lead draft, looking for a win on a plate track once again as we hit 24 laps to go. The window will open in about 5 laps. I'd expect it to be closer to the midpoint of that run that we see this group on pit road. But at some point here in these final 24 laps of the Daytona International Speedway, we will see another round of green flag pit stops. It will be notable to you on the left side of your screen. That group led by Cody Eldred has cut into the gap from the leaders. They were about 5.5 seconds back 5 or 6 laps ago. They've cut that to 4.4 seconds back from the leaders and only 3.3 back from the tail end of the pack. And in fact, only about 1.8 seconds off the range of the draft. And as these guys continue to not really push the issue up front, they're just ticking away hundredths where they can. They're pushing really hard back in this second group, and it is so far paying dividends. They're down to about 1.7 seconds back from draft range, and at this point, they could drive their way back into this race. Now, there's a long way to go, and obviously they got a lot of work to do, but this group is doing pretty good work right now at just staying together and cutting the gap and giving themselves an opportunity. Should this lead group continue to just not push the issue? This lead group just has not been very close together. You wonder if there's guys saving, trying to make that last pit stop shorter, take less fuel, but regardless, they're not pushing the issue, and that's just allowing Eldred, Catrone, Beauchamp, Little, and Fitzmaurice to try to race their way back into this one. They are now just 3.2 seconds, and closer now to 3.1 seconds behind the tail end of the draft. They can almost see them now. Look at how far off Harold Rothery is here off turn number 4. They've cut inside of 3 seconds back from the tail end of the pack. And Cody Eldred and company, they're not out of this thing yet by any means. They are running down the leaders and doing it in a hurry now. 2.8 back. They're about 1.3 short of draft range as they work back into the banking of turn number 1. Keep an eye on that gap on the left side of your screen. You're looking at the gap from Hayden to Eldred as we are on board again with Harold Watkins. Still working its way onto the Daytona Superstretch. Almost said the Alabama Gang Superstretch. That, of course, is not the case here in this one from Daytona, but now only 2.5 seconds back. They're a second away potentially from draft range in that second group, and just continuing to whittle away at it is that second pack led by Cody Eldred. Field works back off turn number 4. Rothery gets a little bit closer, and they'll steady the water for now here at the front, but they continue to chop away at it. Ziri's not been very close as that third car either. It's allowed Cody Eldred and company to really cut into this gap. They're down to 2.1 back of the lead draft and closing in. They're now 2 flat away from the lead draft. Folks, we're going to have a 14-car race. When we get to this last pit stop, the problem for those guys is they don't have a ton of laps left to get that gap back, and now they have laid off just a little bit back there, but they'll start it again here at the end of the Daytona Superstretch. But now the lead draft pushes the pace and will try to outpace them again. Here's where he got close. See if they gain it back here in turn 3, and now they start to lose that time just a little bit. So they got to get on it. They're almost there. It's about 2 seconds flat. Back to the, actually, it's less than that. There's one car that is at the tail end of this group that's not on the lead lap. That is, I want to say, Mike Martino, and that's going to allow that group to bridge, but they just lost 0.4 of a second because the lead pack has cranked up the temperature here again at the front. They get a little off kilter here in turn 1. We'll have to see if that gap continues, but now they are all pushing in line 4, 5, 6 deep in line, and now they will probably drive away. But it was a good effort by Eldred and company. They gave themselves a shot, but now they're going to start to race too wide here at the front, and that's going to help them. Irizarry and Everett jump to the outside, and all of a sudden, it is too wide at the front, and the side draft is going to create an opportunity for Eldred and his group to get back into this race. Irizarry and Everett to the outside. They want the race lead in the Motorcraft Mustang and the Black Rifle Mustang. Let's see if anybody goes with them. Here off turn number 4, back down to the start-finish line. Back to turn 1. Irizarry nose-to-nose for the race lead. Eldred's really not gained a ton. In fact, it's back to 3 seconds. It was too flat. I'm not sure what that group has started doing differently. They're pushing the same, but, man, Brandon Beauchamp's just not close enough as that third car to get them back into this one. They will need a caution as they are really losing time now. 3.1 back is Rothery. They have really cranked the juice up here at the front and turned the pace back to full bore as they work off turn number 4. We're well within the pit window. One car going to dive to pit road. That's John Velocity in the 84. As this group snakes along the front stretch here, Zuri and Everett going to take another look at it. 17 laps to go this time. Back towards turn number 1. It continues to be Harold Watkins leading the way, but Irizarry is impatient behind the Stephen Luttrell machine. He wants to go, but they can't get any takers other than those two teammates on the bottom, 5th and 6th, Irizarry and Everett. And this time, even Everett doesn't want to take it. In that 13 car, he will here at the end of the Daytona Superstretch, but again, just did not look like he wanted to take that on the end of the backstretch. They will again go too wide around Luttrell. This time, Caswell fills the gap and will not let those two cars back in line. When they get back to the line, 16 to go. Pit stops are imminent at Daytona. The final pit stop of the night, then it will be the sprint to the finish. You've got to execute on pit road. Trouble! Irizarry's in the wall at the nose of his teammate. The Motorcraft Mustang has damage and will now drop to the bumper of his teammate. We'll have to see how severe that right front damage is, but it drops them all the way back to the 6th and 7th positions on the racetrack. They'll drop in line, one in front of Patty. Irizarry was unable to get down to the 14, but he'll have some help in Hayden picking him up at the back end of this draft. When they come off turn 4, it will be 15 laps to go at the World Center of Racing. Harold Watkins leads. And again, you've got to execute this pit stop to give yourself a chance to win the race. I would expect guys to be on pit road in the next couple to 3 laps for the final set of service tonight at Daytona. Then from there, we'll figure out, number 1, how many cars are left in that lead pack, and we'll contest for the win in this one. I love strategy races, and this is a prime example right now. You got to be able to execute on and off pit road. Don't slide through your box. Don't speed. Don't miss pit road. Don't miss on exit. Got to be as fast and efficient as possible while also being as safe as possible to avoid collisions and penalties that could bring your race to a screeching halt. Watkins will work the field up the banking once again. And now 9 lead lap cars have a choice to make off turn 4. Is it pit stop time at Daytona? It is. Here comes the majority of the front pack. Watkins coming to pit road. Strader, Rothery, Luttrell, Caswell, Modesty, Matt Hayden. Trouble, around goes Ryan Patty. The 30 is around on pit road. Everybody skates around him to avoid him. But for Ryan Patty, that may very well be all she wrote. Trouble behind them. Eldred, Catrone, Little. The second group comes together and they crash on pit road. And any chance they had, any little chance they had without a caution has now been extinguished as that lead trap works off turn number 4. A pair of teammates are together here off of the pit lane, or excuse me, getting onto the pit lane. And Everett and Irizarry, they have really got to push the pace here. They've got to come to pit road this time, or their chances, I believe, are over as well. They get a little benefit here from a lap car. Are they going to go another lap? They're not, but a bit of a wonky entrance. Oh, man, Everett, he's way too quick. He's got to get that thing woed down. And at the line, that was really close, but he and Irizarry made it work. They're off pit road together. Meanwhile, the leaders coming off pit road. Strader leads the pack. Now, he is going to be on the tail end of the lead lap when this cycles through. Watkins had a great pit stop, but he is going to be hung out to dry by these cars behind him. Caswell, Modesty, Hayden, Rothery, Luttrell. And from there, it looks like Fitzmaurice, Ryan Patty, and John Velocity will lose the draft. Velocity's already a lap down after his pit service. A number of other cars going to lose the draft. Fitzmaurice, Patty, Beauchamp, Little, Eldred, Castrone all had problems on pit road. Caswell to the outside. He wants the prospective lead. The teammates still lead the field, and they're all the way over here on the entrance of turn number 1. But Everett is by himself, and so is Irizarry. They came out separate, and that will not pay dividends for the teammates. Irizarry will get blasted by on the exit of turn 2. And by the time they get to Travis Everett, it will be all she wrote. Look at how fast these guys are going to be going when they get there. As they work into turn 3, Everett has the lead, but this pack is coming quickly. It'll be a matter of whether or not Everett can grab onto the back. Irizarry was unable in the 14 machine. He is 2.7 seconds back of the leaders. Let's see if Everett's able to do it. He's going to try to work to the outside here, make the leaders go around him. The leaders will tow off of his draft. He'll drop down to last second. Strader goes up and around him, and they're going to be forced to push the 13. You know, unethical, sure, But effective also very much, yes, and Everett's going to stay in the lead pack. That was masterful work there by the 13 again, if not a little bit unethical. Inside is Everett. Outside is the lap car of Strader, pushed by Garrett Caswell, who took the advantage of the track position on the outside, and will try to get that lane rolling so he can get to the race lead. Inside versus outside, 12 laps to go at Daytona. When they get back around, it's going to be 11 to go. Caswell thought about a split right there in the 10. Strader's having none of it, though, and Strader going to, I think, bail out of the field here so he doesn't impact the win, but now we'll come back down in front of the 10 machine of Strader right as the inside gets a little bit separated. A big break for the outside lane right there as Caswell continues to push Christian Strader. That is the battle for the lead, is Everett and Caswell. Strader is one lap down, kind of fading between that and tail end of the lead lap, and Caswell is trying everything he can to push the 29 because he wants to get the track position in front of Travis Everett in the 13 and get to the race lead. Now the Daytona Super Stretch, when they come back around, it will be double hands up the flag stand. It will be 10 laps to go. The World Center of Racing. Strader's clear of the leader. Caswell going to be leading the outside now. He's got Hayden coming to his aid. And now it's Everett pulling forward the lead. He's got a car to tow off of. And on the outside, it will be Caswell, Matt Hayden, and Harold Rothery. Let's see if they can get anything going. 10 laps to go as Everett goes around Strader and now blocks Caswell on the outside. Watkins will lead the inside. Man, they just cannot get connected between Hayden and Garrett Caswell, but now he gets a bit of a surge here into turn 1. He'll be the pusher on the back of Travis Everett in the Black Rifle Mustang. Onto the Daytona Super Stretch once again. Everett leads. Caswell to second. Watkins stuck behind a lap car now in third. Hayden trying to work forward as well. So is Modesty. Rothery and Luttrell kind of just unfortunately have to be spectators here on the inside of the racetrack, on both lanes of the racetrack, as they work back into turn 3. When they get back to the start-finish line, single digits on the board. 7 cars are in contention for the win with 9 laps to go at Daytona, and several have not yet won in this second season of 2025, and they include the race leader and the man running second. Everett first, hadn't won since Talladega of Season 1, was in the Final Four a season ago. Caswell has never won in the Challenger Cup Series. He's come close, but has not yet gotten that trip to Challenger Cup Series. Victory lane is going to get split for a moment by Matt Hayden, and Matt Caswell just cannot find the help. And you wonder if maybe there's a little bit of animosity. Obviously, Hayden, nothing from him. Strader going to dive out of line again. Man, the 29, these moves have been really weird. This time he's going to go all the way to the back, though. So Strader going to get out of the way, not wanting to affect the ending portion of this race. He'll jump to the outside and go to the tail end of this lead draft. Everett leads over Watkins. Then it's Modesty. Then Caswell kind of by himself with Luttrell. That's the battle for the 4th position on the racetrack right now, as these guys are just so discombobulated. There's just not enough cars to really do anything. Watkins in the best spot, I would say, unless you're Rusty Modesty. I think Rusty Modesty's in a great spot, too, in that 6 machine. In fact, now I think Rothery might be the man in the best spot because he's got a really hyper-aggressive pusher coming to his back bumper in the form of Caswell, who hangs him to dry. Garrett Caswell, okay. Harold Rothery, I imagine that's going in the mental notebook for the Busch Light Chevy. So he will not get a push from Caswell, who takes the track position instead in that 10 machine. Man, they're checking up on the bottom side. It was almost a disaster back around the 5th position. Back to the line. This time by 7 laps to go at Daytona. Everett, Watkins, Modesty, Luttrell, Caswell, Hayden, and Rothery, the 7 cars that will compete for the race win at Daytona International Speedway. Everett has not won yet this season. Watkins won 5 times the season ago and at Iowa 3 weeks ago. Rusty Modesty's yet to win in 2025 at all. Stephen Luttrell won Atlanta back in race 1 of the season. Garrett Caswell has not yet won in his career. Matt Hayden hadn't won a broadcasted race in 2025. Looking to change that. Here he comes to the outside. Rothery is the man with him in the Busch Light Chevrolet. It's 2 cars on the top lane. Rothery's a really aggressive pusher, and he's going to shoot Hayden all the way to 4th. Watkins sees it, and he blocks. In front of Hayden goes the Ghost Chevy of Harold Watkins, the Daytona winner from last season. He's going to battle now with Everett. 6 laps to go at Daytona. Hayden going to send Harold Watkins to a brief lead here in turn 1. The inside will recoil. Everett will get back to the race lead. Rusty Modesty now going to be in prime position to make a move, should he want to, on the end of the Daytona Super Stretch. Outside not really getting anything going right now. A couple guys just letting the moves come to them, and that's Luttrell and Caswell right now. They weren't in a good spot a moment ago. They're in a great spot now, third and fourth on the inside to try to make something happen when we get down to it. When they get back to the flag stand, it's the 5 out the stand from Barney. It's 5 laps to go when they get back to the line. At the stripe, outside gets to the door of Rusty Modesty, but no further. 5 laps to go at Daytona. 12.5 miles. This time, Watkins surges all the way to the lead here on the entrance of turn 1 on the push from Matt Hayden. They'll go door to door. They will drag race down the Daytona Super Stretch. Modesty, Hayden are the pushers. Caswell moves up, gives that outside a 4th car. Might jump back down here on the entry to turn number 3. That outside is backing up just a little bit. And Christian Strader's back into the fray as well in the 29. Hanging behind this group, not trying to interfere with the finish to tonight's race. Caswell going to dive back to the bottom, just nowhere to go. The lines are log jammed right now here at the front of the field. Nobody with a very clear advantage in this race. Caswell going to jump back up. The inside gets stalled just a little bit. 4 laps to go, 10 miles around Daytona. Watkins clear. Wow, man, I think Hayden thought he might have had it right there into turn 1, but Everett surges back just a little bit and gets back to the door of Watkins right there with a push from Modesty. Not as many cars on the inside now, and Luttrell trying to get back. They'll get Everett clear again, and Caswell dives back down once more. Does anybody try the middle here? Does anybody try to do something, Luttrell or Caswell? Does anybody try the center? They're going to pass another lap car here on the end of the backstretch. Oh, man, they waited awfully late to make that move. Up and around Catrone. Watkins going to try to run Caswell down. Garrett Caswell says none of that and jumps around James Catrone. It took some composure there from Garrett Caswell in the 10. Now he'll jump up. He'll be pushed by Harold Watkins. Garrett Caswell leads the outside. 3 laps to go. I don't know if Harold Watkins is going to push him. We know those drivers aren't particularly fond of one another. Inside led by Everett. The outside now is led by the T&J Bar and Grill GTCR Motorsports entry of Caswell. But it's only 2 cars. Their help is bailed. They're trying to tandem up here on the Daytona Super Stretch. They've just got no help there. Even with Luttrell, they're trying everything they can as they work down the back straightaway and back towards turn 3. Into 3 they go, just nothing doing for the outside. It was a great move from Caswell, but the help bailed, and now Watkins will bail as well on the 10, and so will Christian Strader. And Caswell now in a very unfortunate spot. It's popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go. At Daytona, they're trying to crash. Catrone, Caswell, they're going to crash. Garrett Caswell's in the outside wall. He comes back down the track. He collected Harold Rothery. They're out of it. Matt Hayden is probably out of it as well. Matt Hayden may be okay in the Fanatec Chevrolet. It looks like he's going to be all right. He's going to catch the draft of James Catrone. He'll still be in it. Rothery, it's going to be close, but I think he may lose the draft. Caswell, for all intents and purposes, is out of this one in the 77. Hayden gets a run. He gets all the way to the outside of Watkins. He gets all the way to the outside of Luttrell. He gets all the way to the outside of Modesty. Matt Hayden making the run for glory here off turn 4. If they make it back, they're going to see the white flag. The inside dissolves. Here comes the help for Hayden. Back to the start-finish line. White flag is up. 1 lap to go at Daytona. The push is on the outside. Hayden going to have to shove Everett here as they work down towards turn 1. Modesty on the inside as Hayden turn left here. Can't do it. Everett able to somehow keep the lead. Modesty back to the inside. Everett to block once again. Watkins will have another say here down the Daytona Super Stretch for the final time. Travis Everett trying to block his way to a victory at Daytona. Hayden's even with the leader. Luttrell looked to the middle for a moment. No push on the outside right now to Hayden as he tries everything he can to get back to the race leader. Into turn 3 for the final time. Hayden trying everything he can. Modesty gets clear. So does Luttrell. When does Rusty Modesty make the move off turn 4? He looks high. No dice. He's going to look to the bottom. Drag race. They'll come all the way back. Trouble. Everett's around. At the line. Rusty Modesty steals it at the line at Daytona. Now hold on just a second. We'll have to wait for any post-race discipline here because obviously that was a last lap incident, a last corner. And and involved the winner of the race, so we'll stand by, but momentarily it looks like Rusty Modesty's got his first win of 2025 in the Challenger Cup Series. In a classic of a race here at the World Center of Racing. This track, this series has just never disappointed. We'll go back and take a look at the contact between Everett and Modesty. That is obviously on the end of the front straightaway, and we'll take a look at it, obviously, in the moment. And by celebration, looks like, of course, that this one is official, but trying to get a better look at this burnout. There we go. So Rusty Modesty, as of now, is the winner. We'll go through the, as of now, what would be unofficial race results. I do believe they're going to be made official here momentarily, but we will go through what the results are as of this moment. As Rusty Modesty captures his first win of 2025 and locks his place in the Challenger Cup Series playoffs by virtue of his win tonight in Daytona. Harold Watkins goes second, another good run for the man that seems to be back in form. I asked him last week if it felt like he was back in kind of that championship form he was in a season ago. Back-to-back podiums. I think he'll take that if you're the driver of that Ghost Chevrolet. He goes second tonight. Another great plate track run for Stephen Luttrell coming into tonight. Luttrell was 13th in the points. Obviously, he's locked in by virtue of his Atlanta win, but certainly got a nice boost in the point standings tonight as well. Will likely hop several drivers up into the top 10 in points, leaving Daytona. Travis Everett goes fourth as of now. He saw that incident on the last lap. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. Matt Hayden is fifth. You thought for a moment he made a really great move, got all the way to the leaders on the last lap, but could not get the support behind him to win that race. He'll go from fifth. Harold Rothery finishes sixth. Good run for the driver of the seven machine. It's Jimmy Fitzmaurice in seventh. Good points night for Jimmy Fitzmaurice, who needed some points to go his way. He'll go seventh tonight. GT Erziri in eighth. Garrett Caswell ran a really great race, a stage winner, a lot of laps led, put himself in position, got involved in that incident late. He'll go from ninth, and Ryan Patty cannot go 3 for 3. 2 for 3 is going to have to settle for the driver of the 30. He'll go from 10th. Andrew Little finishes 11th tonight with Cody Eldred in 12th, Brandon Beauchamp in 13th, James Catrone in 14th, Mike Martino in 15th, Greg Bourbonier in 16th, John Velocity in 17th, and Christian Strader in the 18th position. Let's go take a look at it briefly. The incident coming off of turn number 4. We'll take one look at it. Again, I think in real time maybe it looked worse than it actually was, but let's go take a look at it anyway. Between our two leaders, let's go atop the Daytona International Speedway. Let's go to the chopper camera, and let's just take a look, and we can all be the judge here at the same time. The move was first to the outside. He kind of baits the outside move, kind of gets Everett a little bit out of shape, which, again, is fair game. Last lap at Daytona, and as long as he's established and does not go below the yellow line right here, and both are the case, not below the yellow line, he was established in that lane. Everett comes across his nose, unfortunately, goes for a slide, and man, I thought for a second Everett was still going to win. I think if he keeps the car straight, he wins in the grass. But nonetheless, Modesty, Watkins, and Luttrell get the top 3 at the line. Well, these guys are ready. They're better than me at this point at being ready for these post-race interviews. So let's get right into it here. Post-race coverage from the Daytona International Speedway. We'll start first with the man who finished in the 3rd position. Another really great run in what has been a really good season so far for Stephen Luttrell. Had the win earlier in the year at Atlanta. Gets a 3rd place finish tonight in Daytona, and certainly what the doctor ordered for his point situation. Let's hear from the 3rd place finisher. It's the driver of the 36. It's Stephen Luttrell. Steven, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I sure do. How's it going?
Well, not too bad. Obviously Daytona plate tracks, as we've learned in this series, tend to be a little bit chaotic. This one comes down to not only execution on pit road, but then you also have the end of the race scramble as well. With only 7 lead lap cars in the pack, we still produce a finish like that. They're scrambling everywhere on the last lap. You come home third. I do want to ask, obviously, was there anything else you could have done there off turn number 4, take me through the last lap scramble? Is there anything else you could have done, or were you kind of pretty content with finishing wherever it came down to there off turn number 4?
Yeah, all the green flag stops, I noticed that there was only 7 of us in the lead pack, and the outside was so terrible. These cars just don't draft very well, and I decided that the outside wasn't doing well. I found my way to the inside. I saw Rusty's back bumper, and I just figured I'm going to stare at this for the rest of the race, and wherever I finish, I finish. It's just too bad Travis had to get sent down to the infield there at the end, but it gave us a position. I hate it for that. I hate to get it that way, but hey, here we are.
Absolutely, and look, winner at Atlanta earlier this season, now 3rd place at Daytona. The plate tracks certainly have looked kindly on you, and now it's going to actually make for a really good points night. Coming into tonight, 13th in the points, obviously locked in, but still looking for the playoff points as well, and kind of positioning yourself for the postseason when it comes around. Tonight, a 3rd place finish is going to help. You'll probably be top 10 in points leaving Daytona, so what does that do for your confidence? Only 5 races left in the regular season, some weird tracks, some unique tracks coming up. So what does it do for your confidence to finish 3rd and probably vault yourself into the top 10 in points here as we hit the prime playoff push?
It definitely helps. The point situation has been pretty bad for me. Win the first race and then just kind of doing dismal since then. But I've been figuring this car out over the last few weeks and getting better and better and better. I know I did pretty good at Iowa. I was running good at Richmond until I got caught up in a wreck. But yeah, we're gonna be looking forward to the rest of the regular season and see if we can get some more wins out of it.
We're looking forward to the playoff push tonight, though. A 3rd place finish for you in Daytona. Good points night for you as well. So before I let you go, I do want to give you the opportunity. Are there any thank yous or shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, just my mom, my dad, my wife, my kids, and my grandson Mason, and all the fans out there watching. Thanks, and especially you for putting on the broadcast. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you for talking to me as well. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you next week.
Got it. Thank you.
Stephen Luttrell and the 36, your 3rd place finisher from Daytona International Raceway. Let's go to the man who finished in the 2nd spot, the Iowa winner from a couple of weeks ago. The man who will leave Daytona 2nd in the points and in a tie for the points lead for the first time since last season. Harold Watkins sees a 1 next to his name in the points standings. He'll leave tied with Christian Strader after the 2nd place finish tonight in Daytona. We'll talk to him about a 2nd place finish and also the game plan for entry number 3 headed forward into the playoff push. Harold, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how's it going, Dawson?
Well, look, not too bad, and, good night for you here in Daytona. You ran well, led laps, did everything you probably wanted to do to put yourself in position. Doesn't quite go your way on the last lap, but hey, a 2nd place finish in terms of what it does for you in the standings is going to be what the doctor ordered. Take me through that scramble to the end. Obviously, the green flag pit stop thins the field a little bit, but even still with 7 cars, it was a little bit chaotic. Take me through that scramble to the end of the race tonight in Daytona.
Yeah, it was dicey. I mean, the top side just doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. Like you can sort of like hold, but you can't really move unless you have numbers. So having that small of a group, I probably should have just rode behind Travis, but I was just trying to make something happen and have a little fun because I was kind of getting bored just sitting there, honestly. But overall, good night, good points night. Ran up front. Can't really ask for much more.
Well, look, 5 races to go in the regular season, leaving tonight in Daytona. Darlington, Gateway, Bristol, New Hampshire, Kansas are all that's left before we go playoff racing. And I mentioned it a moment ago to segue into the interview. really for the first time since last season, you see a 1 next to your name in the point standings, leaving Daytona in a tie for the points lead. I talked about the confidence last week, how it felt like you were back in championship form. 5 races to go, you're looking for the number 1 seed, and you seem to have all the momentum in the world. What's the game plan for these last 5 races for you to clinch a regular season title and kind of get back into that position you were in last season?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is just to go get as many points as possible, try to win some stages, get some playoff points, and try to win some races and start building those up. But honestly, if I can get the bonus points for winning the points in the regular season, that's another bonus. So yeah, just gonna go try to do what I can do. I'd rather start slow and finish strong. I feel like it was a little bit opposite last season, so maybe that'll be the thing that catapults me this year.
Well, tonight a second-place finish for you in Daytona. Daytona has looked pretty kindly on the 3-car this season, or this year, rather, in Challenger Cup Series competition. First, and second. You got to take that as we head on forward. It's second place for you tonight, though. Before I let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to everyone that makes this league go. There's a lot of people that do a lot of things to make this a great league, so shout out to them, and shout out to you up in the booth. It's always fun to go watch this back, and can't wait to watch another second place finish. But hopefully we'll climb to the mountaintop at some point again. And shout out Rusty. I think this might be his first win in this league, so that's big for him. And shout out to everyone watching. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you for talking to us here for a moment. Congrats on the second place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week in Darlington.
Thanks, Dawson. Have a good one.
Harold Watkins, second place finisher tonight from Daytona. You heard him say kind of the opposite of last season, in that he, last season started with a bang. Obviously wins the Bud Shootout, wins Daytona, wins a couple more races, Homestead, wins a bunch of times early in the season, but then late in the year, it faded a little bit for the 3 of Harold Watkins, and at Pocono, did not quite have the raw speed that I felt like he had early in the season, and ends up coming home second in the championship race and to the eventual champion John Velocity. So, for him, it's like, hey, let's do this the other way around this time. Let's start a little bit slow, get off to a bit of a sluggish start, but then, hey, let's pick it up right about this time when things start to matter just a little bit more, and get into Phoenix in November and maybe rewrite that story when we get to championship weekend later on in the year. Let's move to the man now in Challenger Cup Series victory lane, and this is one I've been waiting on for a while. If you don't know the backstory between myself and Rusty, I've been calling races with Rusty and a few other guys here in this series for a long time at this point. It's been very nearly 2 years, I think, at this point. And Rusty Modesty came in a little bit later than the original guys in the old throwback series that I used to do. But I'd yet to call a race where he went to victory lane, and tonight is the first one. And you heard Harold talking about this might be his first win in the league. It's his first win of this year that I've been doing this. I think it's his first win that I have gotten to call. So a really cool opportunity here for Modesty, as he is your winner, the Daytona International Speedway. Let's hear from him in Challenger Cup Series victory lane. Rusty, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dawson.
Well, I heard Harold say it just a moment ago. I know for a fact it's your first win here in 2025 that I've been a part of. I think it's your first win that I've gotten to call, but I also heard it might be your first win in the league. First off, before we even get into what happened at the end of the race, just take me through the feelings, the emotions when you cross the line, you look down, you see that one pop up, and you realized you were in victory lane.
Yeah, this one was unexpected. I was fully prepared to get P2 here tonight. And luckily Travis and I could laugh off what happened there coming to the checkered. So this was completely unexpected. It's the first one since starting up this Challenger Cup Series, and man, just happy to get into the books. Usually as you run these things and try to get everything set up, you're more worried about the machine working than you actually driving and competing, and it just goes to show that kind of things are ticking and people are in the right spots, and this machine's working, and you can kind of sit back and race and have some fun with it. So man, super happy about this one.
Well, yeah, that kind of piggybacks onto my second question, which, and I've seen this happen across several different leagues, different kind of racing promotions, is that when you get the first one, when you get the hardest one, you tend to kind of rattle them off. It tends to be a little bit easier, I guess, once you have that first one off your back. Is that the case here? Does this kind of feel like a monkey off your back where you just get the first one and now you kind of take a deep breath and go win some more here as we get into the grind of the postseason?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but we actually raced with some pretty darn good dudes here. Nailing a win here is actually pretty hard. I know you see certain names coming in. I think we got like Ryan, right, coming in, winning back-to-back. We got the win streak that Harold was on. We got the win streak that Christian was on. Listen, there's a lot of good Matt. There's a lot of really good talent here, and to win on any given week is tough. It's tough. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to break a streak or put some extra wind into the sails, but boy, we're gonna hope it carries us some momentum into the playoffs, puts us in a good point situation, and ready to just hit it hard.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about that as well. Obviously, coming out of Daytona, you moved to 4th in the point standings, and now are pretty solidly in the competition for the regular season championship. We heard Harold talking a moment ago about the points bonus that comes with that. 5 races to go here in the regular season. Of course, Darlington is next week, then Gateway, Bristol, New Hampshire, and Kansas to end things off in the regular season. What is the confidence level, in that you can go and battle with these guys in points and potentially put yourself in the conversation to be regular season champion?
I tell you what, as far as some of my favorite tracks, we're hitting the stage here, and it's flat tracks, it's complex, it's things that are different. You have Gateway, which is a very different course, with kind of like flat on one, banked on another. You kind of have to drive it. You just have to drive it. Same thing with Darlington. Bristol's its own monster. New Hampshire, flat track. The only kind of odd one that I'm probably going to struggle a little bit with is Kansas. No, I'm excited for this next group of tracks coming in. And then even going to the Roval in the first round, bring it. Let's do this.
Certainly a fun group of tracks coming up as we hit the grind to the postseason. Tonight, though, a chance to celebrate for you for the first time in Challenger Cup Series victory lane here this year. So do want to give you an opportunity here on the way out. You're the man in victory lane. You have an opportunity now. Are there any thank you shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, first and foremost, shout out to the Misfits Motorsports Group. Just a bunch of cool dudes racing week to week. Thanks to everyone at Challenger that kind of makes this thing tick and make it go around. Harold doing points every week, Matt with the media, Andrew with kind of race direction, James Wright with race control. It's a group of people that kind of make this go round that takes this big thing and breaks it down into segments and makes it more manageable. So shout out to all those guys and all the members that have been coming in and showing up week to week and providing us with really, really great and fun racing. So shout out to you, Dawson. Great broadcast as always. And lastly, Lindsay Fitzmaurice, shout out.
Well, thank you for talking to me here for a second. Congratulations on the victory tonight in Daytona. Go enjoy it, go celebrate, and we will see you next week in Darlington.
Thank you.
Rusty Modesty is your winner tonight from Daytona International Speedway. And, I hear it oftentimes. There's a misconception, I think, with plate racing that small fields can't produce good racing. There's just not enough cars. And 4 or 5 times now in this series, twice at Daytona a season ago, Talladega a season ago, Atlanta a season ago, and again this season as well. Now Daytona, every plate race we've had in this series, despite having 18 cars on the racetrack, has been really, really good. There's been a little bit of everything. There's been some chaos. There's still some attrition involved in plate racing, but there's also strategy. There's also track position. There's also plotting your moves. There's so much involved in these races, and you don't have to have a 40-car field to make that happen. We did not tonight, and these guys, again, every week on Tuesday nights, they continue to put on an incredible show in the Challenger Cup Series. They do so again here tonight. And what a better way to top it off than with a first-time winner in Rusty Modesty tonight in Daytona. He's locked in the playoffs. He was going to be in on points regardless, but he's definitely locked in now Wise in the thick of the regular season title conversation as we head to the final 5 races of the regular season as he gets the job done here at Daytona. We'll look forward now to what is to come. Austin Green's Grindstone Development Truck Series probably still live as we speak over on our main page here at PGR eSports. Go check him out for a moment. The folks over at Grindstone Development Truck Series, they do good work, and go check them out over there for the tail end of his race. Nothing else coming up on tap tonight for PGR after our races, as Ron Morse Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder is taking its off season. So nothing tonight, nothing tomorrow that I know of as of now. On a personal note tomorrow, and this is aside from PGR, but on a personal note for tomorrow, would greatly appreciate if you'd come over to Ballin TV and Ballin Cat Productions for our production of the Moonshiners Racing League OB Builders Cup Series. I'm going to get to jump in the booth on color commentary with the great Justin Prince for their Wednesday night regular season finale from this same racetrack, Daytona, as they've had a great season so far and getting a great opportunity to work with Justin. And also DJ Lyon, the producer over there for the Moonshiners Racing League. Some great people over there getting to call a race for them tomorrow. Can't wait for that opportunity to get to call a race for them tomorrow. So come join us for 100 laps at Daytona as we close the regular season over there for the OB Builders Cup Series. It's going to be a lot of fun to get to jump in on that one. Thursday night, the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series returns. It will not be myself on the calls. I'll be out of town this week. But somebody will have you for the call on Thursday night as we have a special event this Thursday in the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series. It'll be the first ever duo randomizer race. It'll be a 30-car field randomized into 15 groups of 2. And it is winner take all in that race between the 2 finishers. So going to be a lot of fun to watch that race, to see that one unfold. It's a new thing that they're trying over there for the Super Speedway side of things. It should be a lot of fun. Friday night, it'll be Landon Velicki and Trevor Ostronaut's Midnight Racing League coverage right here on PGR eSports. It'll go live right around at 12 o'clock Eastern on the East Coast for the Midnight Racing League. Justin Melikar, the guys over there at Midnight, doing a lot of great work as well. They've had big fields. They've had really good racing this year, too. You'd be surprised how good the racing is at midnight on a Friday night over the Midnight Racing League. Go check those guys out on Friday as well as they bring you more coverage. Monday night, I believe, is going to be more PGR VRX Light Series racing with Landon and Trev and the boys in the booth for that one. We'll see if it's for points. It's either going to be points or a preseason race right here on PGR eSports. And then next week for Challenger, we're back. We're at Darlington, the Lady in Black, next week under the lights at the Darlington Raceway for race 10 of the season. 5 races to go in the regular season. The playoff push is on. Next week we'll go 165 at the Darlington Raceway. Hope you'll join us for that one. And we cannot wait to be back with you in a week's time from the Lady in Black. The track Too Tough to Tame is next on the Challenger Cup Series schedule. That's going to do it for us tonight from Daytona. Rusty Modesty goes to victory lane and locks his spot in the Challenger Cup Series playoffs as race 9 comes to a close here in Daytona. Thank you so much for joining me, using the chat tonight and being active and supporting your drivers. Saw a lot of fans of a lot of different drivers. Thank you for using that chat feature. Thanks for giving us a moment of your time here on a Tuesday night. Thank you so much for joining us. Promote the stream. Continue to promote what we got going on. We got great things going on here in Challenger Racing League and also at PGR eSports as a whole. And hope you'll continue coming on back. I'm Dawson Wise. You've been watching PGR eSports coverage of the Challenger Cup Series. Until next time.